Well, Grand Rising Elizabeth, I am so excited. Today is Friday, Passion and Purpose Day, and Passion and Purpose Friday. And I have a wonderful guest that I have come to know and to love and totally respect. I have seen this sister in action as being a leader. I have seen her in action as dealing with issues with love and with integrity. And I have I'm in awe of her. And we're going to be doing some more things. We are partnering in Super Patch, and which is one of the reasons that I am comfortable being invited by my goddaughter, and we're both godmothers to Danielle. So um, we get to, love on not only her, but everybody else, and all that is attached to her is good, is good. As she relates to her husband, is the way I relate to my husband, and my family, the same. So many things that I can relate to, which can make me comfortable with her, and the people that are around her are loving people. And so I'm just excited that she has stepped out, and we're going to talk about that. This show, did I start the recording yet?
Yes, you
I
did.
did. Okay.
You didn't start the
I
opening, but you
did. I
started.
did. I sure
Did you?
did. I see it now. But the show is called Elizabeth because um um when I turned 40, I'm 73 now. So that was 33 years ago. I listened this man called preacher called Dr. Miles Monroe came to Detroit, and I had just he had just been introduced to the United States basically. And my mom knew that I loved how he talked about purpose. Oh my God. I said, I've never heard any preachers. Usually they're preaching, they're doing what they do. But I had not heard anyone talk about purpose like this man did. And that he was coming to Detroit, and I had to go. So it was a Saturday, and so we went, and I asked God to give me a birthday present from this man, from what he was speaking on. And when I got there, it was full, um, and um, and he talked about time, which at some point I want to share with you, but he talked about time. That was his appetizer because Dr. Monroe can talk. He does not teach, he preaches, totally preach. And so when he talked about time, he was saying that, we are locked into time, but God is not. And so he talked about explaining that. And then he went into lessons from the conception. And that is why this show exists, because of the lessons from the conception. And what he said was that when God sent his vision, his baby, Jesus Christ, then that was not an example, but an ensample. Example be something like this, and that our babies will come something like this. But no, he said it is an ensample, and an ensample is exactly like this. And he began to break it down into 20 principles, at which sometime I will share that as well, break it down. That is on our website, and it is when it talks about where how it came about. And I was like Oprah with Color Purple. When they had the little what do you call them, the little discs, what do you call them? They didn't have the CDs yet. Hell yes.
Cassettes. Okay.
They had the cassettes back then. And I ordered one of those and I just went crazy. But what he said was that when the angel said, I want you to, have the baby, and she said, well, how? That I've not been with any man. He said, well, the Holy Ghost is going to come upon you, and
Mm-hmm.
you get pregnant. And then the important thing was that she said, be it unto me, because had she not said that, then the Holy Spirit will not force you to do anything, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
surrender. So she said, be it unto me. And he had everybody say, be it unto me. The whole church would, be it unto me. It was dynamic. And the man, Dr. Miles, I called him Dad Miles because I became a part of his life and vice versa. And I was like, what he was talking about with those principles, I said, has he been a fly on the wall of my life? Because he was everything that he was talking about, I was experiencing in some way or form. So,
Mm-hmm.
but what he said also, once Mary did that, he said, oh, yeah, and your cousin Elizabeth is also with child. The
Mm-hmm.
significance of that was that when well, let me say this. So Mary went to see Elizabeth, and as she approached her, her baby leaped.
Mm-hmm.
And the significance is that you want to be around people who cause your baby to leap. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where you want to be an Elizabeth to other people and vice versa. You want to find other Elizabeths that you can relate to. Because when you're carrying something and you're carrying something, um, people don't understand you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the miracle that you have unless they are experiencing the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, So that's what happened, and that's what came about. Afterwards, Dr. Miles was signing all his books, and he was at the end of the table, and I was sitting in the chair right beside him, right? And somebody that I knew came by, and she says, why are you sitting there? And Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Miles looked down at me and he turned around to her and he said, because I am her, Elizabeth. And I ran with it. I ordered the tape. I told Pam to make CDs of it, and I just was passing them out. Like I said, like Oprah was with the Color Purple, just passing them out to everyone. So Elizabeth obviously is very much alive in my life because I'm with you all, and every one of you are an Elizabeth to me, and I know I'm an Elizabeth to you. And when I speak
Mhm,
to people, when I talk to people, when we talk about Elizabeth, I'm talking about the show and explaining, I will tell them, I know I'm an Elizabeth. I
mhm.
know that I'm your Elizabeth, and you are too, because we've been standing here and your baby has been leaping like crazy. Why?
Yes,
Because
yeah.
I'm talking about their life and their
Mhm.
baby. You know,
Yeah.
what are you passionate about? That word
Mm,
passion? And what's your purpose? And they
yeah.
start talking and they get all involved and they forget that they was about to leave or whatever. So again, when I meet an Elizabeth and like I said, each one of you are Elizabeth. Every host on the show is passionate about what they are
Mhm,
talking about, and they're very knowledgeable about what they're talking about. And so
mhm,
um, I asked Lorraine would she be my special guest this Friday because she has stepped out. She has done that, be it unto me. She
mhm.
gave her resignation to step out and do her thing. And
Yeah.
one of the major things which is Super Patch and as a ministry because
Mm,
she loves people. So if you could come on, Lorraine, I want you all to just, just give her a big love and, thank you and everything else.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Before we start,
Well,
I see I got a hand up already. Or was you,
good morning.
or were
Good
you just
morning,
raising your
everybody.
hand, Kim?
I'm raising my hand because now I'm putting a face to the name. Good morning.
Yes, 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 yes. So I'm going to, let me see, I'm going to change this view so it's the two of us.
All right.
Like this.
Did
Um,
you have a question, Kim, or your hand just up? Because
No, it was just up because I just, like I said, I put a face to the name, and I was just so glad to see you this morning. So,
well,
I'm
thank
gonna try to
you.
be in on your study tomorrow morning a little bit, but I have prayer from 10 to 11. So, um, I'm gonna have to cut it short, but I'm coming. I want to see your students.
Lorraine, you have a study tomorrow?
No, she's referring to Yolanda.
It's down to
Oh, I'm
Yolanda.
talking to
Oh,
Yolanda.
yeah, that's
Yeah, the
Yeah.
students
Yolanda.
are
The students
doing
are
their final exam tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
So this is
Sorry, I'm getting named. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so now, okay, this is Lorraine. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
this
I'm
is
still
Lorraine.
glad.
I'm still glad to meet you, Miss Kim.
Yeah, I'm in my bed attire. I'm home alone, so I
All
get a chance to
right.
walk around in my pajamas.
Mhm.
Ah,
So I want to just really, again, Lorraine, I just so much appreciate you, and I'm always watching. Yeah, I watch everybody.
mm,
Um, Usually, when I come into like a room as outgoing as I am, when I meet new people, I don't say a lot. I just kind of watch.
mm,
And in particular, when I saw you handle when we went to Vegas,
Yeah. We had
and
a lot to handle, didn't we?
yeah, we when you stepped in, even before then, when you stepped in, actually, when we first started doing Super Patch, and how you stepped in to make sure that we had enough inventory and trusting everyone, to do their part. And
mm,
but always being very blunt with what the situation is, and I need y'all because I'm gonna do this, and I need y'all to do this.
mm,
So, and then, but well, those who did not go, when we went, and our rooms were not the way they should have been, in the way that she had set it up,
mhm.
she stepped up to the plate and made them do what they were supposed to do. And then
Amen.
and then they gave us perks as a result of all of that.
Mhm,
And then she just made sure that all of us was taken care of. I was watching the entire time. I was so glad that I could just sit back and watch, and I didn't have to
mhm,
do that because usually I'm in that position. And you are such a beautiful sister, physically as well as in your heart. And that's important. And Elizabeth, that's part of it. You
Yeah.
cannot be an Elizabeth and be an asshole. You can't do it. It's not.
Don't go together.
Yeah, it doesn't
mhm.
go together. So I'm so proud. I want to give Danielle a moment. She got her hand up.
Yeah. I just want to speak on Vegas as well because there was that. But then how she stepped in and one of our teammates got sick, got the flu while we're out of town,
Hmm.
Mhm,
while we're in Vegas. And I think it was seven of us all together that was in Vegas on Super Patch team. And she, stepped in and made sure that that team member was well taken care of,
Hmm.
while being sick. And then
Mhm.
myself, because it was the flu, so somehow I end up getting the flu while out of
Mhm.
town. And it was
Mhm.
just still that motherly caring spirit, but also she handled everything with grace. Especially the best decision I learned on that trip was get the travel insurance, get the travel insurance, because that handled everything. And it was just, it was just calm, the calm under the storm, because it's a lot when you're dealing with the different personalities of people. And she just handled everything, by it being under fire, just with just pure grace, just
Mm.
pure grace. And so it was really, yeah, Sheila got a chance, Queen Aduni, sorry, got a chance to just chill, um during the conference. And then, it was really working teamwork in tandem without having the conversation of being team of what teamwork. People just stepped up and just did what needed to be done because, you know, we were all out of our element. We're in total
Mhm.
different state, and you don't know the outcome of what's going to happen. But by the grace of God, me and Galen, we flew home. We got some amazing perks because of her leadership actions, and we got the biggest thing is we got home safely.
Amen.
That was the big
Yeah.
thing. We got home safely. So I just wanted to say that, watching her in action, because I did have the opportunity of working with her, and it's one thing to see daily fires from the job, but it's another thing when you out of state with people, you kind of know, but you don't know until you travel. But it's like be under that leadership of just being able to step up and just act with grace was an amazing thing to see in person. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
share that it was a lot, but we got through it. We did.
So thank you,
Thank you.
Danielle.
Thank you.
So I want to talk to Lorraine.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about how she made that decision. What happened when that made you say, be it unto me?
Mhm.
Well, I would actually have to start out by saying I want to give all honor and grace to God
Mhm.
who
Mhm.
leads my life. And I want to
Mhm.
give a shout out to my Heavenly Mother, which the greatest gift she ever gave me was knowing God.
Mhm.
And
Amen.
because of that, she left me a legacy to keep going on when
Mhm.
she was not here. She always told me, you could be anything you want to be. If I can digest just a little bit so you can know a little bit about my background, so you know how I got to this point. I'm from Chicago. I grew up in Cabrini Green. I was We were living there when I was born. At the time that I remember, up to maybe about 7, 8, it was beautiful, and we used to play outside before the games came in. But there was a life changer for me because during the summers, I went to Camp Cheney in Pullman, Michigan. So I never spent one summer in Chicago. So I never got privy to a lot of things that were going on there. The big thing is that I actually got to see white people, people of Hispanic, people of all kind of cultures. And in the community, when that's all you see, that's kind of all you know, except for on TV. And as it turned out, it was a game changer for me because I met this girl, and this stands in my mind to this day. Her name is Emily Anders, blue eyes, blonde hair. She came to Cabrini Green, picked me up to take me to her house. And in her house, it was just beautiful from where my standpoint, from the way I lived. And I went and I'm like, oh my God, people actually live like this. Like it's not on TV. This is for real. I came home, told
Mhm.
my mom about it. And she said, honey, you can be anything you want to be. You can live any way you want to live. And it was from that moment on that I started dreaming. And I had never really dreamed. I just tried to please my mom. And as it fast forward, I went to college on a scholarship. I graduated as salutatorian, and I got the scholarship to the University of Iowa. So I got up there and I was like this. I was a big fish in a little pond in high school. Got to University of Iowa and I was like a minnow in an ocean. Tons of people, everybody smart. And I said, okay, I don't think I could do this. My mom was like, well, I don't know where you're going because you can't come home. And I'm so glad that she did not let me come home. Get a tutor, do whatever you have to do. And I did.
Mhm.
And I did graduate on the dean's list in 4 years from the University of Iowa and immediately went into Xerox Corporation and worked there for 5 years. And I met and married my son's father. And he worked at Xerox as well, which is why that's how I got into pharmaceuticals because we were working at the same company. And it's like, well, maybe we could do something different. So I kept dreaming bigger. I kept dreaming. And at the end of the day, I worked for Pfizer for 5 years. I went into medical sales, I did hospital sales. And one of the things that I realized was that I was constantly going to the doctor and telling the
Mhm.
doctor what to do to help the clients, but I could never have a hand on the clients. So I ended up in Michigan because the pharmaceutical company transferred me here. And I did that for a few years. And I just really wanted to get my hands on what can I do to have a direct impact. And so that's how I got into home care. And that is how I ended up being able to people needed, they needed PTOT, but they also needed chore services. They needed somebody to take them places. And I really fell in love with being able to have a hand in making a difference on a day to day basis. And that's how I got into doing the caregiving services and also doing community resources. My company was Community Connections for Seniors. And that's where it was just, God, it was
Mm.
awesome to just really, I had an office in Ypsilanti, in the senior building, and to really be able to be present that when you do something and then you see the results, because the people there were not only appreciative, but I became the source as opposed to the office. The office would go down and see Lorraine. Oh, you got to go see Lorraine. So I felt like that was around the time that the Olivia Pope was out. I felt like I was like the little medical Olivia Pope of fixing things. And then I ended up teaming up with my husband's cousin that we met. And we realized early on that there was a connection because we did the same thing two different ways. So we kind of merged our businesses. And then for the last 8 years, I've been working with Edith and learned so much. And it was really great to have another person there. But what ended up happening is that more and more as we got into it and we got bigger and bigger, my role became more administrative and it became more of doing payrolls and putting out fires and I wasn't in the field. I wasn't able to touch and move and make a difference that I could see. I like being I'm that person to go in a room and like Queen Aduni said, she just watch and listen. Nope, that's not me. I talk and I listen and I like to make a difference. So I prayed about it because what happens is when you do something for so long, it just becomes automatic. You don't think there's nothing to dream about. There's nothing to, you just, Lord, get me through another day. And then the days became longer and longer and longer. And I said, God, what do you want me to do? Because I mean, I want to do your will. This is what I do. And now I felt like I was working to earn a living. I wasn't, so I decided I went on this quest. My husband was in pain. He had bone on bone. He was looking for something to relieve the pain so he wouldn't be on a cane. And Gaylen teamed up with me and we were on a search. And she was the one who actually found Super Patch. And she stayed on me. And we ended up calling the people and like, can we get some patches? And that's how we found out that it was a multi-level marketing. I was like, I don't want to do that. I done did like 15 of those, which I really have. And always looking for something else in the midst. And when we got the patches and, they worked so well, I was like, well, this is great. But the defining moment for me was Deetra. When she invited me to come out to her church to group to do a presentation, I really thought I was going to do a presentation. I didn't know that it was going to be a spiritual experience. And I've never told her this. So you guys are hearing this for the first time. When I went there and I walked in that room, the spirit was just amazing. I walked in and I could just feel it. And as I spoke and as the people spoke, it was so present. And as the as it evolved, there was a gentleman who was in a wheelchair in the back. And as I was patching people and we were recording and it was wonderful, but when I got to that man and I put those patches on him, when I laid my hands on him, I could literally feel something. And I said, "Oh my God, Lord, please let this man get up." I mean, I've seen it on Facebook, but I've never did this live. I was a little apprehensive at first, like, what if he doesn't give up? Stop, stop. Lorraine, this is not about you. This is about him. And at the end of the day, when I put those patches on that man and he stood up, I felt like this is what God wants me to do. I could do this. I could do this all day. And I love this environment. That's why for me, the churches is whew, that's my baby. That group of people. But when that man stood up and we by himself, we helped him up and he was standing and we said, "Okay, you want to sit down?" And he said, "I don't want to sit down. I've been sitting all this time. I just want to stand. I just want to stand." I was literally in tears inside. And that for me was a defining moment like, how can I get to do this all day, every day? I'm doing this job and it's a job. It was no longer a passion. And that's how I got from working in home in with tour services in the administrative type of position because I'm doing the whole ownership thing and and I just I kept bringing people on. We made one supervisor, then we made another supervisor, then we brought Danielle. I mean, I kept trying to hire people so I could get out in the field. Never happened. So as a result, I stepped out and I ended up getting heavily involved in Super Patch. And what made me make the flip was Stacia, Stanicia Graham. When she did the identity shift, I was able to actually find out who I am. And I'm still on that quest. But at the same time, I was able to find out what identity was working, which identities I needed to crush, why I was doing everything that everybody else wanted me to do. And, was I good enough? Is this girl? If you haven't heard Stanicia Graham, she is amazing. Me personally, I think it was God sent for me because as I continued to do that, it gave me strength to actually go back to the table and say, God, what do you want me to do? And he said, and I heard him clearly, he said, it's time. I'm like, how am I going to, what? I, it's not the question. When God tells you it's time, as they say, faith, the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things to come, you step out on faith, have no idea how it's all going to fall out. And at the end of the day, when I mentioned it to my business partner, which some people know our relationship, it's yin and yang, and we're constantly going at it in a lovingly way. And I just said, you ever thought about just selling the company? And she said, yeah, well, that might be nice. Let's talk to Everett. And when she talked to Everett, who's the CEO, and he didn't want to do it, they decided they would just buy me out. It was so smooth. And that's how you know that God is in the mix. When it works out and you don't have to figure out, like, okay, you don't have to manipulate anything. If I say this, if I do this, what is it that I should really, really do? So as it turns out, they ended up buying me out. So now I don't have to worry about the money part. I can actually dedicate myself to making a difference for people with Super Patch. Now the dream actually begins.
Lorraine?
And is how I got there. Yes.
Yeah, back up to another confirmation that you have with Nina.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Because I think that wasn't that before you started, before the identity classes
It
started.
was.
It was right in
Yes.
that same time. Hmm.
Yes. Yes, it was. After I did the Dietrich event, that was what sparked me. And I was like, mm, am I really supposed to do this? I don't know. And I told Danielle this, and Danielle was with me. You know, when God has something for you, it's for you. So Nina was coming to Chicago. Not Chicago, Michigan. And it was on my birthday, April 12th. We'll never forget this. I wanted to go, but I didn't want to go on my birthday. And my husband and I went to church and we did this and that. And he kept saying, you need to get there. And I'm like, okay, I'll get there late. I'll just, I'll get there. Danielle was at my house. She was waiting for somebody to pick her up. Um, I think it was
Our teammate Andrea.
Andrea. She was waiting for Andrea to pick her up. And here's how it really happened. Short version. We're driving and I was getting ready to go get my eyes done. And God was like, okay, see, so you're not listening to me. Girl, did he not give me a flat tire? We're driving back to Westland, going to get my eyes done. The place had moved from one place to another. It's like, you're not getting them done. You're going to go to this place. I didn't know that at the time. So immediately, the freaking tire goes flat right at the entrance to the parking lot of a miniature mall. And when we pulled over, had to call AAA. I'm like, I'm sitting here for an hour waiting for anybody. You know what? I'm gonna call Danielle. Let's see, what time is it? You know what? Andrea's gonna be late, and um, so Danielle is still at home, and I'm gonna call her, and they're gonna come pick me up, and I'm gonna go with them to the Nina thing. And my husband looked at me like, "How you know that?" Because how do I explain this? I know this is what I'm supposed to do. God is like talking to me. And that's exactly what happened. I called up Danielle and she said, Andrea was just pulling up then. I said, great, pull over. They picked me up. We went to the event. Fast forward, we get to the event. Nina was doing her thing, but when she got to putting these patches on this lady, I kept moving forward because it was something. If you haven't seen Nina live, it's something about her. I kept looking and she was patching and she looked up and she said, yeah, you could do this. And I'm looking like, who's she talking to? Because I was by the wall on the other side. And she's putting these patches on and I'm watching her as she touches the knees that people put them on and she just touched. And I said, you know what? That's what it is. It's transferring the energy, it's transferring the spirit. Oh man, I could do that. And when I talked to her afterwards, she said, you one of us. I said, yeah, I know. I am. And it was at that point that I stopped resisting and stopped questioning. Now it was like, now that I know who I am and what I'm supposed to do, how do I do it? And that is when Stacia came on the tail end. It was like 1, 2, 3, bam. And a month later, well, actually 2 months later, because that happened in April. And that's when Stacia was doing her daily. That's when I found out about her little daily things because I wasn't on it at first. But my point is that when you go to him and you ask, what do you want me to do? You've really got to let go of what you want to do because we have a choice. We have free will, and free will is good until it's not. But if you do what he wants you to do, it always comes out so much better. It makes a difference. And I have made a decision to be obedient. That isn't always the easiest thing to do, but you will know when it's him and when it's you.
Yeah,
Does
Yolanda,
that answer your question?
Lorraine, one of the things in the principle is that God will make the provision for the vision if it's his vision, if it's
Mm,
aligned. Otherwise, the baby comes and it's in an incubator because it was coming out of the line. It doesn't mean that that wasn't supposed to happen, but waiting for God to being in line, being in alignment with the timing. See, and that's why it has been so easy for you and things are happening for you. And they were open for to buy you out, just like bam, 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 bam. Otherwise, it would have been a struggle. It doesn't always mean that that's not what God wants you to do, but you got to see the whole thing step by step by step. Otherwise, God, you're just running off, and God said, wait, 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 wait a minute. One step at a time. Go ahead, sweetie. I just wanted to share that. The vision, God provides for the vision. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tell you about this vision because technically speaking, technically, my business partner and I ran it as owners. When I came into that business 8 years ago, they had like 10 clients. Fast forward 8 years later, it's like 50 clients. And we did, her and I ran this company and we projected ourselves as owners, even though technically I didn't have any ownership papers. There's nothing in writing saying that I am an owner. Well, at the end of the day, when it came time for the buyout, I don't know. I think the devil is just sometimes it's like he tries to get in there because when she said, technically, we don't have to buy you out because we have nothing in writing. I said, you don't. You're absolutely right. You don't. But one thing I do know about my business partner, she is a God fearing woman. And it's like, well, if you, that's between you and God. This is what you brought to me, and I'm going to stand on it. And I just went to God and I said, I'm going to let you handle it. I'm not going to fight this battle. Sometimes he presents us with battles in our life and we try to fight them. But he says, all ye heavy laden, bring your burdens to me and lay them on the altar. Now, the trick is when you lay them on the altar, you got to leave them on the altar.
Yeah.
Because we try to, well, I think it would be really good if you did it this way or if you did it that way. And at the end of the day, letting go is half the battle. Staying off of it is more of a battle. So every time I got ready to do something, I go to God, like, do you want me to do this? He said, did I tell you to do that? No, you didn't. So I guess I won't. It's a lot of conversations that goes on. And I am just, I guess the best way I can put it is there's a sense of freedom when you let go. Because when I said, you know what, there was a lot of back and forth about the buyout. And I said, Lord, I'm putting this in your hands. Whatever happens, this is on you. And he worked it out better than I could have imagined. Everything I came up with, he didn't. And at the end of the day, when I did not act on what I thought I should do, it all occurred in alignment. And it was like 30 days from like, hey, let's do this till it being done. And here I am now on my, like, what is it, June 5th, fifth day of retirement in this beautiful place. I do caregiving. As you know, I still run I have my own caregiving company called Caring Hearts. And that's where I do private duty. And I still do private duty, but it's just me. So with the private duty and the super patch, that is my ministry. So that's what I will be doing because now my passion is hands on. My passion is to make a difference. My passion is to wake up and look at all God's green earth, its glory. I'm breathing, I'm healthy. When you get older, and I'm in my 60s, I mean, I'm knocking on the door of 70, like right around the corner. And I am so happy that I have my health, I have my strength, I have my right mind. That is worth more than weight in gold.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. And that is just how God works. Like you said, I thank you for sharing that, that the challenge is giving it to God and not taking it back. Well. Because God, is always way more than what you see and what you think from our wonderful miniature minds and thinking. Why don't, and God's like, will you just sit down, put a peace patch on and sit your butt down?
Those patches work well. That peace patch, it works extremely well. When they talk about stress on the body from pain, and then there's stress on the body and the mind from relationships,
Hmm.
it makes all the difference in the world.
Well, I'm
Um,
going to open it up, and if you all have any questions or comments that you'd like to share with Lorraine. I've already shared how I feel about her in this short amount of time, and I know that there's some other amount of time in knowing her is what I'm saying. And I know that some of you have been around Lorraine for quite a while, and if you'd like to share. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to put this on full view gallery. And if you'd like to share anything or ask her any questions, I know that all of you um, are. I don't like to say, I'm gonna say this, I don't like to say God's fearing because God didn't tell us to fear him. God,
Mhm.
God loving people and
you
and
go.
um, and that's how you live your life, every single one of you. The only person that I've not physically met is V. Dotson, but I feel like if she's on here all the time with us, and thank you, Dietra, for inviting your family. But I know who you are, and I know your spirit. If you'd like to ask Lorraine any questions or share anything, we have about 9 minutes, so let's keep them short and sweet. And I open up the floor to you.
So if you can
Hello,
raise your hand or say something or jump in.
Lorraine.
Yeah.
I just want to say I truly love you, and you know this. But I'm glad I was a catalyst for getting you started when you came to Unity of Farmington Hills. We had a wonderful time, and I'm glad it was a catalyst for you. And I love you.
Thank you.
Madam Finance?
I know. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
All right. I'm on my phone, and sometimes it's challenging trying to work it. I just thank God for you, Lorraine. I've been knowing Lorraine for some years, and you just said some amazing, profound things this morning, and I appreciate you, especially, you know, letting God move you. You know, I do so much and move, 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 move. But is it what God really wants me to do? Or am I just doing it? Um, and then, knowing how to, say no, be you, just be you. Like no apologies, no anything. I used to feel bad when it came to my sister. And so my sister called me early this morning. I went to bed really late and she wanted to bring 5 tubs um into my garage, right? I'm trying to clean out my garage. Like I love my backyard. I'm in my backyard right now. I got up. I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be on the show. Lorraine gonna be out there, you know. And I was able to tell her no, like, no. You know what I'm saying? And not feel bad. Because sometimes I feel like I'm not a good sister. Oh my God, I'm always telling her no. I'm always telling her no. But to be your authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
not to put myself in a position where I feel bad, you know, and not care about what she thought. And I did it in such a loving way. I think she got it. Like, but I really, not being uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to say yes. And then I feel miserable. I feel sad. I'm looking at this stuff in my garage, because if your house is not in order, I feel like clutter house, clutter mind. And so if your house is not in order, it's like it clutters your mind. And so I was proud of myself this morning. I heard all the negativity. She don't trust her stuff being at this young lady house, so she fell out with. She don't, but that's not my problem. Really, it's not. I don't want your stuff at my house. Like I don't want it, even though it's the garage. Somebody like it ain't nothing but a garage. You can't keep your sister. She got 5 containers. No, and so just being your authentic self and not feeling bad and just living your best life. Like I feel like you living your best life. Like you blossoming, you blooming, you listening. And you gave me something to think about to keep asking God. Even though I do, but you just really like I feel like I'm still at times just moving without him. I'm just let me do this. I'm just doing all these things. And like you said, the blessing is so much bigger when you allow him to
And
be
the
the
best thing I can tell you, Lakeisha, is every time you get ready to make a move, whether you're getting ready, when you're packing up your bags, you're setting your presentation, you're completing it before you start, it's like, okay, God, I'm gonna just take a minute and ask you to come into the picture and ask you to just do what it is that you want me to do. Guide me so that I can be doing your will and not mine.
Yeah, if I could say one last thing that was profound, when you live in your life, I feel like things should be moving easily and effortlessly. Like it really, when God is in the place of it, the universe, it should move easily and effortlessly. And I haven't told anyone, but my business partner, I was really so concerned about that. My business partner is no longer with us. It's just me and my mom now.
Hmm.
And I was concerned about how that whole thing was going to turn out, because it's been like 2 years of inactivity and just, one thing after another. But, she did have health challenges. But when I say God made that transition so easily and effortlessly, like with no issues at all, and we still love each other. And, that was amazing. God is so good. He is so good. So
Awesome.
good.
Hmm.
We're giving her money also, a buyout,
Hmm.
and she
Absolutely.
accepted it. It was like, I think it was a relief on my end and as well as a relief on her end as well.
And you know what the difference is when you do what God wants you to do. When I did my buyout, I really want the company to thrive. And believe it or not, it was the hardest thing for me to do because I knew I couldn't do both. I just couldn't. And at the end of the day, with our agreement over the next 6 months, I get to still have my hand in so I can make sure I can guide, I can consult, I can, whatever it is that's there. I'm not trying to sever ties. This wasn't, I can't stand you, you can't stand me thing. This was like, what's best for the company, what's best for the people, what's best for our relationship, because I still have my partnership with my business partner for a company that we just do consulting. It's on the caregiving end that was, felt like it was like 80 hours a week. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So it really works out when you go to God about it. The transition will be wonderful. Thank you so much. Gaylen, did you want to say something?
Yes. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay. Yes. I want to say thank you so much for just being my big sister. You're too young to be my mother, but you're my big sister and you were phenomenal. When Danielle and I were in Vegas and I was sick. And you've just been phenomenal since the years that I have known you and worked for you. So you have 2 clients under Caring Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Not just 1 client, you got 2 clients,
I
one of
do.
which I'm going to see shortly because my employer is also on this call. But just knowing you has been a wonderful blessing. And I just see your transformation and it's phenomenal. I'm so blessed to be a part of it and to have you in my life as as an employer, but more so as a friend. And I just feel like you, like I said, you're like my big sister mom, because you went straight into mama bear mode when both Danielle and I were sick. And that is just phenomenal. And I'm not going to cry because I have to go to work, but I just want to say I love you. I see your transformation. And
Thank
I
you.
just pray that Super Patch, for all those who are participating and all those who don't know about it, will be a phenomenal success spiritually, physically, and then lastly, financially. So I'm just so happy that you're retired because I know, been in the trenches with you, what that job was like. And I just love your growth, and I just pray for nothing but good things for us all, whether you're a
Thank
part of
you.
Super Patriot or just on this call. Just nothing but faith, good health, joy, prosperity for us and our families. So I just wanted to say that before I head off to work to your second client. Bye bye. Love you.
And
Love
then
you
I
too. Thank
definitely
you,
want to say
Jenny.
something before we leave because, and I'm trying not to cry either. Not because I'm about to go see people. I just don't feel like crying right now. But you really have played an integral role in my life, probably more so in the last 2 years than all the years that I've known you. You're the reason why I got into Landmark. You saw potential in me and you wrote that first check. You started the momentum of me actually being able to ask people to support me for something that I truly wanted and desired. I don't know if you remember that, but you started that.
Oh,
Um,
good. I forgot.
and, we really have a mother daughter relationship. I know I can get on your last nerves, just like I get on Queen Aduni's last nerve. You tell me, I'm just like a daughter, just like your son. And I know your son can get on your last nerves too. So we're in that same boat. But to watch you grow in the last couple of months has been truly inspiring to me because there were things about you didn't even recognize in yourself that I saw. And to be able to see that and actually, you can grow at any age. It doesn't, age is nothing but a number. And for you to, I was there when you made that decision. You was like, I'm done. And then to watch everything happen the way that it's happening, it's a blessing to actually see and to just be there. But you mean a lot to me. And I don't know if you know how much you mean a lot to me, but you do mean a lot to me. And I'm glad to be on this journey with you. I am glad I'm just glad for everything. And I think, I don't know if you know, but I'm very happy of your retirement, your stepping into your patch ministry and everything. And I support you in every way
I do.
possible. And I get on your last nerves about social media too. So, because that's my passion and purpose. But the growth and the glow and everything, I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to bear witness that, yeah, this is all true because I'm there and I've seen it. And I'm excited to go to the next level with you. I mean, this has been 1 year for me. I have where I declare things and they're actually happening. And I didn't know that this was going to happen the way that it's happening. We're all about to get on a plane to go to Houston for this identity shift Thursday, you know? And you could tell me this a year or two ago, the way that we were working, that this was going to be a possibility, but it is. So I just want to say thank you. And, watching you vicariously, it does inspire me. And that
Thank
I
you.
love you from the bottom of my heart. I love you. Queen said it best one time when we were in the loft. There was another loft that she had on Iron Street. And she had a poster of these two women pouring from water vessels into one vessel. Well, one day, a friend of mine who worked with my mom, who cleaned out her desk after she passed, brought some stuff from my mom's desk. Inside those desks was two magnets. One of those magnets was a replica reproduction of the poster that was sitting in Queen's office at that particular time. The same one. It was like confirmation of my mother saying, hey, you're in the right spot. I got you. I got angels on earth watching you, covering you. Since she's not here, I'm here and manifesting in physical form. And I really believe that Yes, I'm not saying I have two godmothers. I do. I have Queen Aduni and I have Lorraine, because you guys really have become that physical manifestation of my mom not being here. So I love you. I love you both, and I appreciate you both.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Danielle. And sometimes, Danielle, what you don't know is I used to have to call Queen of Dune and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with Danielle. What should I do?
Sister
She is
Deetra?
she's like a daughter, like for real.
Deetra?
Okay, I have words from Vanessa. She says, "Thank you all for allowing me to be a part of your community.
Yeah.
It has truly been uplifting, and the message from Miss Lorraine and Queen Aduni, God's
Yes.
timing versus my timing,
Mm.
Mm.
is
Mm.
confirmation to continue in this earth and know that what God has for me, it is for me. Thank you again."
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, everyone. This has been a pleasure and an honor. And it's another way of God confirming for me that I am going in the right direction. Because like with my Caring Hearts business, it's so amazing because I don't do any advertising. I don't even do word of mouth. It just comes. This, when you're being obedient and you're doing what you're supposed to do, people will come to you and say, "Hey, take care of this. Hey, take care of that," and it's like, "I got you." So I am looking forward to doing that. And last of all, Queen, I'm gonna have you help me because one of the things that I really want to do is I have a ton of knowledge, and I'm gonna work with you too, Madam Finance, on resources. And I really want to really get into using the media or YouTube. I'm really social media. I don't know nothing about it, but I'm gonna dive into it anyway. And I'm gonna be like Deetra. I'm gonna just put it out there, and if it's good, yeah. And if it ain't, that's okay. Until I get it right. But I do want to create something so that I can be able to give a lot of information to people. We are all walking vessels of information that if there was not a way before to share it like we can now to the masses. And so that's something that I'm going to want to be able to do in the future, is to have a platform where I can have, I don't know, just be a tool for giving information and resources, particularly to people when their loved one can't live at home anymore and they're in a nursing home and they're having issues. What do I do? Who do I turn to? What can I, that kind of stuff. I've been doing that for like 10 years, and I want to be able to share that information and let people know you're not stuck. And that's
Mhm.
all I have to say.
Well, if we look at in closing, God is the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
And when we're working for God and He has put us in a position of our passion, of which He assigned to us, we came here with that. We've been doing it since we were little, since we were babies. We've been doing that. And so once we lock into the position and say, okay, God, you're the CEO, God says, okay, this needs to be done. Send that. Lorraine, you do that. Danielle, you do that. Stacy, you do this. Lakeisha, they need you over here. All we have to do is listen, keep our heart open, up our skills, always, learning more and more, and just be love. Be the love. Be the love. Be the instrument that God can use. Just be that. Be that. And then God will provide for the vision because that's God's job. Don't take the job away from him. Just do the work and God will provide. He provides
Mm-hmm.
provision for the vision. And I'm sitting here laughing because Lorraine, Lorraine, instead of like kicking back and being the guest, so and so's hand is up. You want to say something, so and so?
Just took
And
over your.
so that being said, Lorraine is going to join me on Fridays for passion and purpose. She's going to be my partner.
Mm.
And I'm
Mhm.
going to, I told her, I said, I have no problem joining you. I'm going to start off slow.
Yep, she's going to do it
I'm
once
gonna,
a month.
I'm gonna do once a month, and then we're gonna move to twice a month, and you're gonna look up. I don't know how. See, that's Lorraine's idea. Just so that you all know, okay?
Mhm.
That's what came to me. Now, if God has another mission and a purpose, you may see me more. You know, this is really gonna be a God directed. What's the word I want to use? Union.
Yeah.
And and I'm talking about having a platform, and she's like, "Here you go." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, see, you ask and God will give it. If there was one last tip that I can leave to everyone is, I said I was not going to get emotional.
Mhm.
But if you look up and you can't find your vision,
Mhm.
you can't dream. Like, I don't know what I went to. It's like dream. I'm like, I don't dream anymore. I work. I get up and I move. It's like driving home. You don't even know, you don't even pay attention. You're in the
Mhm.
car and you're on the phone, or you just drive, you don't even know go here. But when you start to dream, it's like, what do I want? You're giving yourself permission
Mhm.
to like actually say, well, what do I like? What do I want to do? I forgot what my passion was, and I'm getting it back. And the more I get my passion back, I get my vision back, I get the ability to dream. See my little cup, it says, dream big, pray bigger.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's right.
And the prayer life has got to be there. I don't get it all right.
Mhm.
I mess up, and I give
Mhm.
myself permission to have
Mhm.
those mess ups. It's like, okay, God, well, that didn't work out right. Was I listening to you? Oh, dang, I
Mhm.
thought I was listening to you. And that's pretty much it. So just keep him first and foremost. And when you
Mhm.
walk in according to his purpose and his will for your life, the doors will open that you never thought would. The way things will turn out, you'll just be like, oh my God, yeah, that is it. That's my God. And that's all I have to say.
Great.
Thank
Give,
you
Good,
so much
great.
for being here.
give yourselves a big hug.
Yeah, she's great.
Come on, Madam Finance. Taking care of business. Give the world a hug and
Oh,
sprinkle goodness and love and mercy and guidance
oh,
and wisdom to our leadership as well as ourselves. I want you to have a wonderful weekend on purpose, as Madam Finance